A quick video tutorial for you of how you make those sort of color palettes after you get out there today and take your color photographs, and you can put them into a color palette. So I do it in a sort of, quick and nasty sort of way, but it does the job. So I've got an image open here in Photoshop, which I showed you today earlier, which was the blue image. So I'll show you how you can make a color palette out of that. What you need to do is make a new, what we call canvas, or a blank canvas to put your image into. To do that, you just go to the top of the screen, File, New, and this is here where we can make our custom image or custom canvas. I'm going to call this color palette. I've forgotten how to spell palette. I hope that's right. Some of you can probably correct me if I've got that wrong. Here's where we put the dimensions of it. It sort of defaults to pixels every time, which is quite annoying because we work in centimeters usually. So just make sure you change it to centimeters. And I just make a 30 centimeter by a 30 centimeter square. So 30 by 30 centimeter square. Resolution, keep it at 300 pixels per inch, not pixels per centimeter. Pixels per centimeter will be a huge, huge image, so only in pixels per inch. Keep it in RGB color mode, 8-bit is fine. And the background contents, just make sure it's on white and hit create. So there you've got your white square, and we're going to put our image, this image here, into our white square. I like to click and drag my image, so I need to be able to see the source and the destination. At the top of the screen, you go to Window and Arrange all vertically, so you can see your source image and your destination. And then to click and drag that over to your blank canvas, you just use the Move tool. So that's the very first icon on the tools bar. You can also hit the letter V for Vanessa on your keyboard. That always brings up the Move tool. So click on your image and drag and release it on top of your white canvas. So you can see that is now here on your white canvas. I'm going to go ahead and close that blue one now because I no longer need that. I'm not going to save it. And now you can see if I just zoom out, my image is much too big for that blank canvas. I can see the edges of the image there if I hit the Command key on the keyboard. So I'm going to transform it to make it smaller. To do that, we go Command T, and that brings up the dialog box so we can see that the image is much bigger than this square. So I'm just going to shrink it. Hold in the Shift key so you don't change the dimensions of it, the ratio of it. And there I've just shrunk it a little bit, and I'm quite happy with that. And I hit enter, or you can also hit the tick at the top to perform that transformation. So transform is Command T, and that's T for tree, or T for transform. Okay, so now to make the color palette, I've got my image there. I do it in a really easy way using the marquee tools. The marquee tools are the second tool in the toolbar. It'll default to the rectangular one. You can do circle ones if you want, but I think the rectangular ones look quite nice for this. So marquee tool, and I start drawing a rectangle. About that size I'm happy with. And then we're going to fill that shape that we just made with a solid color of paint. Now, you'll need your paint bucket for this one. And if you can't find your paint bucket, it is in the gradient tool option. So sometimes you might just see this icon. If you click and hold down, you can bring up paint bucket tool. And then these are the colors. It'll look something like this, black and white. Should just default to black and white whenever you open up something new in Photoshop. And we're going to select the color that we want to paint into that square. So to pick the color, we want to pick colors from this image. To pick the color, you double click on the top square, so white's on the top, so double click, and you'll see that your mouse now has turned into a eyedropper, and you get the color picker dialog box open here. So if I start clicking on colors anywhere I go, you can see that the color picker is picking those up. So for this image, I'm going to do the monochrome ones. So I'll start with a dark blue. That looks nice, nearly black in that one. Maybe I'll go a little bit lighter. Let's start with that one. Hit OK, and then you can fill that in like so. Now, I could go ahead and draw another rectangle, but I want to get these all looking even. So the best way to do that is just to copy that marquee, that rectangle you've done there, and paste another one down. So Command C for copy, or you can go up to Edit and copy at the top. But I'm just going to do the keyboard shortcuts because they're nice and quick. So Command C and then Command V. Now it pastes it directly on top, so I'll have to use my Move tool, or the letter V, to move it over. And then I'm going to use my paint bucket, I should say. Select my next color, so I'm going to go a lighter blue, not too light. You can see this when you use the color picker, it shows you what the last color you picked was. So that's nice, so you'll be able to see what the next image, next paint color is going to be here. So I'm happy with that. Hit OK and paint that one in. Now I can just hit Edit Paste or Command V, and my rectangle box will be pasted onto the screen. I just have to move it. So Move tool, move it into position, and then back to my paint bucket and back to selecting the next color. I'm going to go with that color, that looks good, and paint that one in. Again, paste, move, paint bucket, and just go along in this fashion, picking all of your colors. And I'm going to go, so see that's the new color and that's the old color. I want to get it a bit lighter. I've gone too far here. Maybe I'll go that. Good. Paint, paste, move. Next color. Good. Oh, make sure you got your paint bucket. Paste. Paint, I should say. Now we paste. Move it over. How many rectangles do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paint bucket. Okay, paint it in. And look, I reckon I could actually move these over and fit another one in, but don't have to. 6 is okay. You could just evenly space them out a bit better. So you can move them at any time using your Move tool, letter V. The letter V, I almost always have my finger on the letter V on the keyboard because I know I'll use my Move tool. So there you have it. That's how you do a quick color palette with some rectangles at the bottom of your image on a blank square canvas. You can see all my layers there. The last I would do is to save that. I would just go at the top, layer, and flatten image, and that's all one image. And then just save that as a JPEG. File, save as. I'm going to call this one monochrome because I think this one fits into that monochrome exercise. JPEG, hit save, just give it maximum quality as well. So that's it, guys. Quick, easy way to do a color palette. just using the marquee and the paint bucket tool with the eyedropper.